Hey, Tel Aviv, are we ready to do this? I can't hear you. Are we ready to do this? Good, 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 good. All right, so thank you very much to Shmuela for introducing me. So the title of the talk today is Building Mobile Apps Progressively with Ionic. And I will begin now. So just before I start, I'll tell you a little bit about myself, how many cats I have, how many dogs I don't like, things like that. My name is Sani Yusuf. I'm originally Nigerian, but I live in England. I'm a founder of Hybrid. I also co-organize the Ionic UK community. I'm an author and a trainer. I recently traveled the world for 8 months. I went to 14 cities in 8 months. That was good. So, exactly. Has anybody seen Avatar, the movie? Not The Last Airbender, the blue people, Avatar. That is the best movie ever. Oh my God. Exactly. So watch Avatar if you haven't. My username is Sani Yusuf everywhere. If you find anybody using that username, I will sue them. Just let me know. You can find me on Facebook, Medium, and everything. All right, so let us begin. So some of you will be asking why I'm here. Why is this guy here trying to give us a talk? So today I want to show you how you can use Ionic to create first an iOS app, native app, an Android app, a Windows Phone app, and also a progressive web app, but all with one code base. So let me just repeat. I'll show you how to create 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I know how to count. But with one code base. No change, nothing, 100% code reuse. And yeah, some of you will be like, this is not possible. This guy, how can you tell me you can do this? But just bear with me. Give me a second. Just follow me as I go. So before we begin, first I want to ask, who here has used Ionic? Great. Who here has used Ionic 2? Ionic 1? You've used Cordova, but you've never used Ionic. And you are from the forest somewhere. Today's the first time you're hearing about Ionic. I'm from the forest too, don't worry. All right, so a lot of people ask, the main question, if you Google Ionic, for example, there's a lot of misconception. What is Ionic? People ask me, is Ionic better than native? So many misconceived questions, and I'll hopefully clear that. So Ionic is basically an open source SDK for creating hybrid mobile apps. And I expect you to know what hybrid mobile apps are. These are simply apps, to just keep it simple, apps you build with either Cordova or Phone app. Let's just keep, at this point in time, we'll call hybrid apps that. The easiest way is, you can think of Ionic as like the bootstrap for building hybrid mobile apps. Well, it's much more than that. It's an SDK. So it aims web developers to use web tools to actually build hybrid mobile apps. So I'll tell you a bit about Ionic. It's really just web. You know, Ionic is built with HTML5, CSS, and JavaScript. So all you're doing is you're just writing, these components are all built with HTML5 and CSS. So you can do whatever you normally do in a web app, create your styles and everything with HTML5. So it's not like you're learning maybe some Objective-C here and there or none of that. And also, Ionic is actually built with Angular. And we are all here because a lot of us here use Angular a lot. So you can see the superheroes, 2 of them working together. I'd like a suit like that. Well, yeah. So it's built on top of Angular because before the Ionic team actually started building Ionic, they looked at the community and decided which framework to support, because we know it's probably a bad idea to build a framework with vanilla JavaScript. Exactly. So they looked at the trends, and Angular had probably the biggest community out there. There are a lot of other frameworks there, but Angular was like the best choice. And so, we do have Ionic 1, which was built with Ionic Angular 1, and now we have Angular 2, Ionic 2, which is built with Angular 2. So right now, I would say there are 2 versions of them out, but if you're really building anything, you should totally be using Ionic 2 with Angular 2. Trust me, and hopefully at the end of this talk, I will convince you why. I'll show you some pretty good things. With this graph, I'll show you how it all fits. Like I said, there's a lot of misconceptions because a lot of people don't know how an Ionic app actually works, which level. So, first off, you write your code, right? You write your normal code, your normal web code, whatever, your picture, I don't know, your images, videos, whatever it is that you want to make your app look. Because the whole point of a hybrid app is when the app actually starts, it's a web view that gets launched. And that web view, think of the web view as a cut-down version of a browser. So if you use your maybe Facebook app or Twitter application or some other app, and you click a link, it doesn't take you to the maybe Safari browser or the Chrome browser. Another web, like a pop-up comes up within your app and shows you a web page, right? So that is basically a web view. It's you being able to call a browser from within your app. So the people that are hybrid apps basically are kind of just saying that web view gets served instead. So what you see is actually web. You interact with that, but the web view just serves your Ionic app for you. So you wrap your app code, and your app's code uses Ionic. So Ionic gives you all the, the components, things like, for example, a slider, a tab, a side menu. Have you tried to build a slider from scratch? It is not a nice thing, trust me. So they give you all these things that you'd normally see if you were building maybe like a native iOS app or native Android app, all these components. Even something as simple, when you're using native, you have so many like components and stuff that are given to you, like a label, tab. But on the web, all you have is like div, you have span, and you have button, which is not really nice. Even you have to use something like maybe Bootstrap to make it look a bit nice. So this is basically what Ionic helps you do. It provides you all these components and many more things as well. And Ionic lives within Angular. So Ionic is built with Angular and TypeScript. And so basically, from your app's code, even if you don't want to use the Ionic features, you can directly get access to the Angular features. Things like the zones, things like the on-init events, all these events, you can directly access the Angular features, not just the Ionic features. So if they're very decoupled, because a lot of people think Ionic is this one thing that forces you to use so many things, but no, it's just another layer that basically helps you get all these components. And everything lives within your web view, right? And within your web view, there is Cordova or PhoneGap. And what does that let you do? The main difference between a native app and a web application is the native app has access to what I call the device runtime, right? In 2006, Steve Jobs held the first iPhone and said, this is the iPhone, and you are the iSheep, and you pay me iMoney, and you have to buy this. And a lot of people bought the iPhone. I wanted an iPhone, but I couldn't afford it, and my dad wouldn't buy me one. But there was a problem. Before the iPhone, we were just using web, right? You had a web browser. You went to google.com on your Mac. It looked the same thing if you went to google.com on your Windows machine. If you like your Linux on your Ubuntu and everything. And as long as you had a browser, you saw the same thing. Well, Internet Explorer did have its say. Could make some things look a bit boxy, but you use the same application, right? Exactly. So now, Steve Jobs comes, new iPhone, but the problem is, if you want to create an iPhone app, you needed to know Objective-C, right? For Android, Java. Windows Phone, if you still create Windows Phone applications, .NET. BlackBerry, please, if you have one, throw it away. But you'd use Java. So this, this was a problem, right? Because now web developers were left out. They had to learn something new and everything. So along the lines, a couple of people in a company called PhoneGap, Naitobi actually, created this thing called PhoneGap, which ended up being Cordova, basically allowed you to access your web app to access device APIs. So now your web app could access the camera, the Bluetooth, the GPS, accelerometer. And this was the main difference between a web app. Before, if you wanted to take a simple picture, you had to first download Adobe Flash, and you had to make sure you had the version of the Flash that the person that released the app has, and then maybe Shockwave, so many things. But now, so with this, you being able to use web to access this device layer, you can now create basically your Cordova application. And that's and all this lives within a native container. So a hybrid app essentially is actually just a native app, but when it starts, it serves a web view. And the web view launches your web code. So this is a misconception that a lot of people, you go online, you have 1,000 people saying 1,000 different things, but I'm pretty sure I nailed most of it today. So yes, your hybrid app runs within a native environment, but no, the part you see is web. But why is that good? If I have a web application, right, now my web application that I've built and I've spent $1 million, which I don't have, to build, I can just take that code and reuse most of it for my mobile app. Good? So this is why Ionic exists, because before that, a lot of people just took a website they built with jQuery and just bunched everything with Cordova, and it was horribly slow. If you remember 2011, Mark Zuckerberg, they tried that, and it didn't work out well, and then they rebuilt. But today, if you look at the web browser, the standards have increased. Internet Explorer is dead. What a new day. It is finally dead. We have, the new browser engines, the Blink engine, the Chakra core for Microsoft. WebKit is really growing. You have all your phones, the Android, the web view is being updated individually now, so you don't have to wait 5 years for a new Android update to have your web view updated. And iOS users keep updating their phones. So this is all good. This is how it all fits. So with your Cordova, you can basically get access to all these device features. So you can access Bluetooth, camera, the compass, and whatever you want to do. And basically, even if you don't have access to things like you have maybe a third-party SDK, you just write a simple Cordova plugin, and you get access to that. And everything is done via JavaScript. So I've been talking and talking and talking, but let me show you some things. Who wants to see some stuff? Exactly. All right. Get ready to be blown away. All right. So first of all, Ionic gives you native-esque components, So some of you have never really seen this before, but it's just HTML5. You've never seen it, but it's very semantic. You can already see what is going on here or have an idea. You see the header, a nav bar, a title, and content. So I don't need to tell anybody, but you can have an idea that the header would probably be the header. The content is the content area. So it's very semantic. It follows HTML5 standards. And every Ionic component is prefixed with Ion. So that way you know, so that you don't go create your own Ion, Sani Yusuf, or doing things like that. So it's very good. And the good thing is the team, they look at the native code, how it works, how it looks as into detail, and they replicate that in HTML5 so that you and I don't have to do that. And I don't like doing a lot of stuff, so it's good. Push-pop navigation. Who here has used the navigation of Ionic 1? Exactly. You hate it, don't you? So it was good, but it was tied to the URL. So if you want to go from this page to this page, the same page, it's impossible. If you try to deep link, oh my God, you would hate yourself. But with this, it's very simple. It's just this.nav.push. You don't even use the Angular router. You use a different router system. Instead of using Angular router, because on mobile, we don't really have a router. It's stateless. You just pass in the component you want to navigate to. So you can basically navigate from the page you are to that same page as many times as you want. Don't do that, but you can. And you can just pop. So it works based on a stack, like a stack of cups. You remove, and you just add a stack. And you can say, okay, you want to start from the beginning. It's very simple. Every page is treated as a component. So you don't even know, like me personally, I'll tell you a secret. I still haven't used the Angular router itself, because the Ionic router just makes it so easy. They handle all this for me. Fully featured CLI tool. The CLI tool that comes with Ionic is handling things like SAS for you, SAS compilation, builds you your bundle. It bolds well with Cordova, TypeScript. You can do scaffolding, like Yeoman. You can generate pages, providers, services. And it has a great error reporting. Who here is not happy with the current TypeScript error reporting? So when you have an error in TypeScript right now, TypeScript just says, there's a problem somewhere, but I'm not going to tell you where, and you don't know where it is. Ha, 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 ha. And it leaves you. But right now, there's a new update in Ionic so that you don't have to look into your CLI. when there's a TypeScript error, instead of you seeing a blank white page, you actually see in your browser, it shows you an error saying on this line, on this code, this is where your TypeScript is. So you don't have to look for your source maps or anything like that, which is great. So you can do all your development without looking at your terminal to see the lint errors. It has a great community. 26,000 stars on GitHub. It's part of the top 50 most used GitHub projects. We have a Slack group, almost 9,000 users. We actually created that Slack group, Ionic UK originally, and then it blew up. We made it now Ionic worldwide. There's more than 9,000 people. There's some people there, I don't know what they do. They don't sleep. You wake up 3 in the morning, I have a problem. Yes, I'll fix it for you. There was one guy that had his final year project, and somebody helped him do it there. Don't do that, but it's possible. Very active forum. You go on the forum, if you have a problem, people would answer you. Global community with 100 groups. There's more than 100 meetup groups. There's one right here in Israel, Tel Aviv, which I will talk about in a few minutes. It's very configurable, because when you want to create an Ionic app, you want it to match your colors, your theme, you know? And it's very easy. You can just add your colors, your themes, and you brand that. And also, maybe you want to make this component act the same way it does all the apps. You can, configure a component global level, component level, or the platform level. So you can say maybe all iOS apps do this, only Android apps do this, or this component. So at every different level, you can overwrite your configuration. Great, right to left support, you know? If I came here today and I told you I don't have right to left support, I probably would not make it home. So for the apps that you are using great for people from Israel, which is you're using the Hebrew language is from right to left. So you have inbuilt support, one line of code. Just literally platform dot right to left, set, that's it. And everything goes. And I will show you that in the demo, not just the right to left, everything, even the components, they look the other way, which is great. Everything in the app, and we're going to see that. So now let's talk about progressive web apps. Everybody's been hearing about these progressive web apps. What are they? Twitter. So many people talking, not a lot of people actually know what they're saying. But so what is a progressive web app? I'll give you a very simple definition. It's a mobile web app, or web application basically, that can run offline, thanks to what we call a service worker. So you can cache network requests. So instead of you seeing the dinosaur game in your Chrome when it's offline, you can actually still use the application. And I'll show you that today. And you can run it in home screen, full screen mode. You can have an app icon, a splash screen. So now no need for app stores anymore. If you've tried to submit on the iOS app store, you know how painful it is. Exactly. They tell you 2 weeks. Maybe you're rushing, you want to update for Christmas, but by the time Christmas is already gone before your update is out. For now, it's Chrome only. But let's hope that Microsoft are implementing Safari, let's just hope. Apple is very funny, but let's hope. So I built a specific demo app for this called Tel Aviv. Because I'm the first time in Israel. It's a very lovely country. I've been blown away. There is, oh my God, great food. Oh my God. So I built a list of places that I want to visit as a tourist. Also some music. I fall in love with Israeli hip hop. And then also 5 very important things that as a tourist I want to be able to say or show somebody. So right now, actually, you can follow on this demo. You can go to bit.do/Tel Aviv on your mobile phone right now and actually get that link and run it live on your phone. So it's available Windows Phone, iOS, and Android. So who wants to see Tel Aviv? Good, good. So the demo is coming. May the demo gods be with us. So let me just... So this is my Ionic application. Can everybody see this, or do you want me to increase the font? Is it okay? Good. Okay, so this is my Ionic app, and I'm just going to show you something pretty good. It's a standard Ionic app, like every other Angular app, but there's an extra thing that I added, which is I have a manifest.json file. Now, this is the file I told you about that tells Chrome that this is a progressive web app. So you can say the short name, the full name, the icon, the background color, the splash screen, you can specify. You can go to the documentation. There's a long list of things that you can specify. And also, this is the magic thing here, a service worker. Now, what is a service worker? It's a new feature right now available on Chrome only that lets you cache network requests. So before a network request is sent to the server, you can intercept it, do whatever you want to do, and change it. And when it comes back from the server, you can intercept it. And it runs independent of the app. So even when the app is closed, the service worker can still run, which is great. So it's system level. So all I've done here in my service worker is I created 2 caches, right? One is requests. The other one is prefetch. When my app starts, I want to be able to prefetch things like my app shell, just the things that I need to show my app. The icons, the fonts, I don't want to be caching that. I prefetch those, put them in a separate cache. And then the second one is just any other cache. So right now, I'm just caching everything because my app is pretty small. But ideally, you'd want to be caching different things, maybe send headers. And I wouldn't want to go through what all the service worker, there are so many great articles right there, but just know that this is what makes basically progressive web apps possible. You can catch install event, the fetch event, which is the fetch event that actually goes to the server, and so many other events. Now, I've said too much. Let me show you Tel Aviv. Who wants to see Tel Aviv? All right. So I will run Ionic serve. This is the command after you create your Ionic app, Ionic serve lab. And it's a command that's going to show me the app running on iOS, Android, and Windows Phone at the same time. Is that good? So you have iOS, Android, Windows Phone. 100% the same code. I did not code different views for these apps. I'm using the same code. But the app knows that on Android it should look a certain way. On iOS it should look a certain way. On Windows Phone it should look a certain way. So I can play, I have for me this is the 3 most important things. I want to know where to get food, how to get to Ben Yehuda Street, because that's where my hotel is, and how much, if I want to buy something, how much this is. And if the person does, and how to get a power adapter. And if the person doesn't understand English, by any chance, I can just enable Hebrew and right to left. That's that. And you can see the same thing on Windows Phone. You see the components are completely different. And you see even the placement of the icons, conversation now goes here. They change. And the same for Android, for iOS. I can do that. Okay, and you can see that I have a nice music video here. I fell in love with Subliminal, I fell in love. But let me show you something. Let's make it interesting. How about I turn my Wi-Fi off? And this could go horribly wrong or horribly right, but I'll turn my Wi-Fi off. And always go horribly right. And I refresh this page. And let's wait and see what will happen. This app is still running. And this is not a trick. If I try to go on maybe goal.com, you see, I can play my game, But our app is still running. And if you remember, I didn't even play this video here. This is the video playing offline. This is all cached. Right? So this is awesome because I haven't even played the video, but because I prefetched that video, I can still watch it offline. I can be on a train. I can be in the middle of nowhere. I'm from Africa where we don't have great internet, so this will be perfect for me. But this is just iOS, Android, and let me take it a step further. I would show it to you running on my Android phone, which I have right here. So this is the app, right? And I can just do this. I can say, add to home screen, Tel Aviv add, right? And I can go to my home screen and look for Tel Aviv here. Do you see the app icon there? Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. This is very interesting because I can actually see it. All right. Let me just show you on the iOS instead. Press the home screen. So can everybody see this? Okay, so this is my iPhone here, and I can show you, This is the app running on the iPhone, but because the iPhone doesn't have the, what's it called? The service worker, it's just going to run as a normal mobile web application. Let me remind you, I'm still using the same code, but I have a normal mobile web app. So let's try it on Android now. Let me just stop my screencast and open it again. So let's see if we can see this. Oh, of course, I turned the Wi-Fi on. I was getting too excited, sorry guys. I was like, why is it not working? Why? It was working before. Okay, let's try this now. Okay. Should we give it one more try? Let's go apps, Allcast receiver, Allcast Chrome. And the network wouldn't let, oh, of course, I need to be on the same network as my phone. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So we good? So I've just, basically, this is the Tel Aviv app. And what I did here is I said add to home screen. Oh, sorry. So it has, funny enough, it's just gone away. Okay, so let us stop the screencast. Oh well, how much time do we have? Let me first look. So for some reason my screencast doesn't want to work, but that's fine. I have another thing I want to show you. Let me actually show you this app running natively on an Android, on a real emulator, basically on for iPhone. So I can go and do this, and I can build this on iOS. And I have my emulator running here. And you can see the same application, the same code running on the iOS emulator. And this could be anywhere. So I wish I could show you on Android, but if you're on Android, your Android phone, you can save it to the home screen, and it will have an app icon and a splash screen, just like every other application. I think that's awesome. So let us, okay, I've lost my slides. Let's present this. Okay, so you can go and check the Tel Aviv app live. I thought that was really awesome. Didn't you think that was awesome? I thought so too. So I really enjoyed that because the future of the web is progressive web applications, you know. The great things you need to be aware of, you know, we have things like the Ionic cloud, where you have push notifications for Ionic, authentication, analytics, deploy. Now deploy is great because Ionic deploy lets you update your app without going through the App Store. So you can update a live Ionic app, an app that is on the App Store, but you don't go through the Apple shenanigans, and your app would update live. So your user's using your app, and it just says a new update is available. They click it, it refreshes. I think that's awesome as well. That's okay with Google, but Apple was the one, but they changed their terms and conditions to like, we're not saying it's not okay, but you can do it. So it's fine. Ionic DB is coming, which is like a database for Ionic, or you can use it any other thing as well. There's also the Ionic View app, which is great because if you're creating an app, if you're using mobile, you want to use test flight, but you want to keep an eye on what someone is doing, Ionic View makes it so easy. You just tell the person, download the Ionic View app, and you share a link with them, and they can basically see a preview of the app, use it, right there on their device, iOS and Android. That's pretty cool as well. So parting words, I've shown you how you can possibly build 4 solutions with the same code, 100%, without making any change. 100% code reuse is very cost and time effective. It lets you focus on how to do what you want to do instead of, you know, just focusing on the to-do, not how. And it's a win for us because it's a win for the web. There is Ionic Israel, so please join their meetup page and their Twitter page as well. If you want to get started today, you can go to Ionic, the framework, join the Ionic Slack on the link. Josh Moroney writes a lot of good Ionic blogs. Or you can find me online at Sani Yusuf everywhere. Now, this is where my talk ends, and if you have any questions for me, I would probably be at the, I don't know what it's called, the NG Zula place, but it's been an absolute pleasure, Tel Aviv, and I really loved talking to you, and I hope you've taken something from this talk. Thank you very much, guys.